And we're live.
Hey, Robert, we're back. We're back
Hey
to the
George.
usual.
Exactly. I know the last time we talked, we were talking about websites and how it was you gave examples of why YouTube embeds would be a good thing for people to use for the websites. Whether it's drive traffic to their websites or just a better way of being able to have their contents archived and what have you. And so the way I end it uh, in the last video, or at least in the last newsletter article, was just to throw out like different ideas as to maybe doing the same thing, but just to kind of get your take on it. And so some of the things I think I suggested was like, well, we talked about YouTube embeds, but what about the idea where people would use videos on their Facebook business page, or maybe like they may not use YouTube, but because they want to use Vimeo, because one of the common things that people talked about either with peers or colleagues is that they just didn't like to see YouTube making suggestions of other videos that would pull them away from the website, or maybe even from the YouTube channel as an alternative option. I know that we alluded to in the prior talk that it just really depends on the people's objectives, goals, purposes, and such. But we hadn't had a chance to talk further on your thoughts of other measures. So let's
Yeah.
hear it.
Okay. So let me clarify some things. YouTube years ago had decided that whatever happens, they wouldn't allow you to embed a YouTube video unless their branding remained on the video. What that means is on YouTube, you can click the little YouTube icon, even if the video is on your website, and it'll take you to YouTube, which is okay because presumably the video came from your channel. But it's a problem if you want the visitor to actually stay on your website, which may be your point. So that's when people started looking into alternatives like Vimeo, because Vimeo allows you to embed it without forcing you to go to Vimeo to watch the video, because that's how the model works. That's one thing. Now, if you're talking about putting videos on Facebook, for example, or the platforms, that depends on your audience. Are the people you are sitting on, or do you think they would never be on Facebook? Because people that are sitting on Facebook will be looking for like socks to buy for Christmas or something. I don't think they would be looking for production services on Facebook. That's my personal opinion. I don't know if they would be. I mean, I didn't think people would be looking for web developers on Facebook, but they are, because my sister sent me an image of somebody asking how much would it cost to make an e-shop, and I'm like, why is he asking this on Facebook? It doesn't make any sense. If he's looking for a web developer, he should Google web developers in Cyprus, for example. If I live in Cyprus, that's why I use that example. But for me, even though it may not make sense, it it might make people do that, but I don't know. For video production services, I don't know if people would look for you on Facebook. Um, that's not to say that they might not, but and I don't discourage anybody from putting videos on Facebook.
Right.
The only problem with that is, one, your content is Facebook's, and if Mark Zuckerberg decides to close your account, you have no control over whether you can open it again. And unless you have your content somewhere else backed up, you will potentially lose that content. Um, the Facebook system may allow you to download it, but it doesn't mean that it always will. It might just pull down your video because you showed a part of your arm in the video, and that is considered by the algorithm nudity, which it isn't nudity, it's just your arm, but the algorithm sees skin and decides, for example, that it's nudity. I'm not saying that it is, but this has happened to me before, and I'll give an example where I have clients that have e-shops that sell clothes. Now, the models that are wearing the clothes are pretty ladies, and some of their skin is visible because the dress has a cut on top, for example.
Right.
But Facebook's algorithm considers that to be offensive, or I don't want to use the word, but it's
Yeah.
considered
Right.
whatever, nudity or whatever you want to call it.
Revealing. Yeah.
And and we are obviously I would go back and request a review, and Facebook will come back and say, okay, so it's the dress you're advertising, it's not the and it will be fine. But it's a pain in the backside, to be honest. So and it's like, and like, for example, there was a website that sold like paintball equipment, and
Right.
unfortunately paintballs use paintball guns. It just has the word gun in it, so that for
Right.
Facebook is offensive. It's not within community, what are they called, community guidelines or whatever. So
Right.
it's not your platform. That's the problem generally with other platforms. If your client is on that platform, good for you. Use that platform. Put your videos on that platform. Great. Do what you need to do. But if your point is to drive traffic to your website, use your website as a platform. And I'll give an example. A client that I white label for because it's somebody else's client and I'm doing the website. So she sells like, how do I say this? Like nails for women, like fake nails or whatever you want to call them. I have no idea what those things are.
Yeah.
But she
Okay.
sells that. Okay, whatever. She had a major following on Facebook, like 6 million people or whatever that are in her community and they want to buy her stuff. She decided she wants an e-shop because she wants to be more professional, which is fine. Before I was able to complete the e-shop, Facebook had decided to flag her for something that she advertised. It may have been her fault. I didn't look into it. Like, I don't know if she advertised the brand that she didn't have the authority to. But I mean, Facebook doesn't lock your account down just because. There must have been some kind of reason.
Right.
I was lucky enough to get her website done very quickly, and she had been able to somehow tell her following that Facebook has an issue, our page is down, please go to the website and do whatever you need to do, which is buy my stuff, right? And that happened, luckily for her. And she had traffic before Google had even indexed her website, because I literally finished it a day after the problem occurred, and Google doesn't index your website immediately. It's just how it goes. It takes like up to 3 days. So that's what happened, but she was lucky enough. But what I'm trying to say here is that you are chained down by the platform and by the policies that platform has. So I about that.
Oh, George, didn't mean to interrupt. Right when you talked about the chain, you kind of froze up there, so I didn't quite get what you said.
Give it a second.
Okay.
So, what I'm saying is you are chained down by the policies defined by the platform, whichever policies those are. It's not my policy, but it's Facebook's policy. And she was kicked out, and that was that. I couldn't do much about that. There's nothing I can do. I can object to the kick out, but that's it. And of course, her account was never reinstated, but luckily she had her own real estate. When I say real estate, I mean her own website, and she pays for that, and nobody can take her off the air unless I physically pull the plug on her website, which I won't do because but what I'm saying is you are chained in, which is why I would prefer to tell people use your website as your asset. But if your clientele is on Facebook, obviously, until that day comes where people where Facebook doesn't allow you to post your stuff on Facebook, post them on Facebook. It's just make sure that when you post to Facebook, you sort of, I don't like this word, but you sort of force people to go to your website, because the plan is you want them to become your client. So force them off of Facebook, which is a social media platform. They can talk to their family members and talk about their dogs and cats on Facebook. That's fine. But when you need them as a client, you need them to go to your asset, which is your website. That's my opinion on any platform, to be honest. make sure
So-
you get them to where you want them to go. If you wanted them to stay on Facebook, you would not have a website, or at least that's my take on it. Why would you have a website if your intention was to keep your clients on Facebook? It just is.
So totally agree the points you made. So one is more like a devil's advocate type of question, and then the second, I don't know if I would say it's piggybacking your idea, but the first one is like, since you brought up the point that with Facebook, like you're pretty much kind of bound with the guidelines and the what they set the tone for as to what you can and can't do. What's to say you can make the same argument with YouTube? Like, they would have, like certain.
Of course you can. It's the exact same thing. It's just on YouTube, it's more like, don't copy other people. Don't say something stupid. Don't curse on YouTube. Don't, I don't know, bleep out all the cursey words or whatever. But on YouTube, that only affects you if you have like 5 million subscribers or whatever. I don't think they would pull my channel down even if I cursed every single day, because I have like 90 followers or whatever. I don't think YouTube would care. But if I did something really stupid, like I don't know, I don't want to say crazy things, but if I did really crazy things, they would pull me down.
Right.
I'm just saying.
So it's almost like a point you make with Facebook would apply with YouTube, but because
it can apply with anything that is not yours. So on your website, nobody, unless you do something really illegal, they can't force you to pull your website down. As long as you're paying the hosting and your developer has the code for your website will be live. Unless they come in and say, your website is doing something illegal, as the police of this country, we are locking your website, whatever. Then, like if you're pirating software and the laws in your country do not allow that, then it's most likely that your website will disappear from the internet at some point. But if you're not doing that, potentially, there's a lower risk of your website ever being locked down. I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm just saying,
yeah, but it's almost like another way to look at it is that the heart of the matter is just the more control you have of your content, and the more control of the environment, you're in a better place of not only presenting your material, but one where you don't have to deal with such variables like, oh, my content's taken down because Facebook saw it, like they saw
or somebody reported me just because they want to kick me out, because it's not always really your fault. Because if people start reporting your content on Facebook, for example, it may just be a rival just saying, Rob is copying my business model or whatever, right? And they might kick you off. Or Rob is selling the product that I didn't give him the right to sell on Facebook, for example. And Facebook's going to look into it. But I mean, honestly, initially it's an algorithm that does the checking. So there might be false positives, if that makes sense.
You kind of froze there.
For
false
example,
positives, was it? Or?
Facebook account because false positive. So they closed down a friend's Facebook account, or his ads account, because they assumed he was not part of the business that he was advertising, where in reality, he's actually the marketing manager of the business. They told him to verify himself and sort of send verification of all that, and they reinstated the account, but that took him a week. Which he did, but it took him a week, and it was a false positive based on the algorithm Facebook had used to decide that, okay, this guy's not legit. It happens. I mean, it is what it is. It's computers. There might be things going wrong with the AI that's classifying you as illegitimate or whatever.
Right. It's almost like the way I would look at it is just that for whatever reason, if people still want to like post to their Facebook business page or YouTube channel, I mean, I know like people have used the cost option where, it's a free site, but I think the problem in that is that even if it's like you don't pay like the investment it is that you would with the website, you still pay in that you're bound by whatever guidelines or restrictions Facebook or YouTube would have. So my thought to that is like, you definitely want a website, but bear in mind that if you post it like on Facebook, YouTube, you may want to consider like making variations to, I guess you could say like adhere to whatever.
Comply, to comply to
Yeah,
the
to comply.
policies. Yeah.
But you definitely want at least to have your, I was gonna say unplugged version, but one where there's less restrictions to your site, which you could use to your advantage, saying like, okay, here's our video on Facebook, but if you want to see the complete version, go to our website.
XYZ. Yeah.
And that'd be the hook, I would say, like to be able to use the social media to your advantage, where you say like, okay,
you need social
we
media
got it here on
because people
Facebook.
are on there, but it depends on your business, depends whether it will undervalue your business, because not everybody's business is social media worthy. Like and what I mean by that is I mean that it might destroy your business if you go on social media. For example, I think if you're a lawyer, why the hell would you, no offense, need a Facebook page? If I mean honestly.
Well, you'd be surprised, but that's
Am
another
I
topic in itself.
am I literally gonna go Facebook a lawyer? Am I just gonna go to the state bar association and find a list of lawyers and say, okay, this guy is best at blah blah blah, let me grab him if I have the millions of dollars that I need for defense or whatever. But you get my drift, right? I wouldn't be looking for a doctor on Facebook. I would go to the bloody hospital. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think then it'd be like a different point where like the idea like relationship building or referrals where like people would ask opinions of other doctors, and then if they have a Facebook account, I would see that be an example of where people would want to go just to get an inkling. But
I get
but
it.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
But it's not. Oh, let me go to Facebook to find a doctor. It's not the first thought that comes to mind, unless I don't know. It just isn't.
Unless like on their website they show they have like a Facebook account, then like okay,
Yeah, but you're saying you're already on the website and you're seeing it. You see, there's a difference.
Right? Yeah, that's a different point.
Best doctor in Cyprus, Facebook. You wouldn't do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not refuting it, but there's been instances where you see that you're like, okay, whatever. But
yeah. I have seen that, but it sounds crazy to me. I don't know how people think anymore. I'm a coder, so I don't consider myself normal. I wouldn't know what people search for in Facebook. They might search for doctors. Who knows? I don't know.
I thought you were gonna say like, I'm not a doctor. I play one on TV, but I'm not an actual doctor. But
that would be cool, wouldn't it? Like me playing a doctor.
Oh man, then I have to call you. What do I call you, Dr. George or Dr. N or?
I don't know, man. I'm not gonna be a doctor. That's insane.
A Dr. Divi though.
Well, you can call me that. That's okay. I
Okay,
can fix Divi problems. It's human problems I can't fix.
Yeah, well, that's
if your website goes down, I can fix that. But if you go down, not so much.
If you go, that's one hell of a tagline. If you go down, I can't help you. But if it's your website, I'm your man.
Exactly. Exactly.
I dare you to use that as a tagline on in your next live stream.
I'm not doing that. But yeah.
Well, clearly,
that requires some skill to be able to use that punchline in it live now.
Well, clearly, since as a good friend of mine or a colleague from a prior live stream would say that since we've gone off the rails, I guess it's a good point where we'll wrap up the discussion here. But as always, if people have any questions, concerns, whether it's Divi related or even like further conversations of what we talked about, I want developers view. Where can people find you?
Well, you won't find me so much on Facebook. I think you should have got the indication that you might not find me on Facebook because I just don't spend loads of time there. But you can find me on Twitter at George WebDev, capital G, capital T, capital W. But I'm on there most of the time because 40 characters is enough to express my opinion, and I don't want to waste my time chatting. Or you can try my website, George Nicolaou, NICLAOU.me. I know it's a bit strange, but I'm there if you want to find me. Or you can just ping Robert. He knows where and how to find me 24/7.
Yeah, that I do, folks. So, and if you're seeing this on the video, we'll have the information in the video description. Or if I'm good, I'll be sure to flash a graphic here. But and if you're seeing the transcript of it, that information you'll see in the text. So, but that's all for now. If you're seeing this on YouTube or Vimeo or wherever, if you like the video or if you know someone that would benefit from our discussion, please share or hit the
Thumbs
like
up.
button.
Do all the YouTube stuff, as they would say.
We're calling it YouTubies.
Stuff, yeah. I've heard that
Okay.
before on like live streams. And it's really fun.
Was that from Xanthi or?
No. It's an American law YouTuber that I keep watching, which is insanity. But
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, wait a minute, I don't remember Xanthi going into law, but
no, she doesn't do that, as far as I'm aware.
All right. Well, on that note, folks, we're gonna leave it at that, and if we have any more upcoming content, we'll be sure to give people a heads up on the social medias, or at least or in our email newsletter. And if you're interested in signing up on our website, we did release a brand new consumer edition version of the video production budgeting guideline. And if people are interested in signing up for that, a link will be provided where you can sign up as a bonus for signing up for our email newsletter. So for George and I, it's Robert here. Well, if you're reading the transcript, you know who I am anyway. And if you're watching YouTube, be well, stay safe, and I will catch you guys later.
Talk to you soon. Bye.